Well, hello YouTube. Welcome to part 2 of the recycling trailer build. Of course, in part 1 you've seen us do a quickie build on it, pretty much just taking the old original trailer, effectively throwing a handful of zip ties at her and making a quick proof of concept trailer just to make sure everything was still there and worth it to take this one step farther. And of course, as you've seen there, the proof of concept is still valid, it is still there. It is actually paying off fairly well. Granted, this is a seasonal thing. It's not something that's going to continue all year long. But for right now, there's actually a need to expand this here trailer. Make it larger, make it bigger, basically have more capacity and all that good stuff. However, the catch-22 is I still need this here trailer to do my nightly runs and stuff like that. I have to have it to use. I can't have it down for 3 or 4 days while I rebuild it. Now originally, of course, I thought of drilling a couple of holes in each corner and build the framework and then wrap it in wire slowly day by day. But that's going to be a lot of hassle, a lot of rigmarole just to have this trailer built. So my brain gets working, and I remember I have another bicycle trailer and pretty much access to a third bicycle trailer just like this one that I can convert to use. Now this one here wasn't my first choice to use because of the shape the trailer was in. This trailer here doesn't have a single rip, a single tear in the sides. The buckles are still in excellent condition for the child safety harness and such. However, I do notice there is some wear, like scraping on the bottom from where the child must have been dragging on the ground or something like that. Now, of course, most people would overlook that. They would still throw their kid in there because technically a trailer is a trailer. However, it is missing the coupler at the front here. I'll throw a photo right here of what the coupler is supposed to look like. So pretty much, I've purchased these couplers before. I know the cost of them online, and by the time you get them shipped to you, sitting there in your hand, you've already had to put out half the cost of what you get back from the trailer when you sell it. And a lot of people, they won't pay you, $40 for a trailer when they have to put out $30 on top of that 40 for a coupler. And of course, the retail store around this town where this here trailer was sold is kind of useless in this case. So of course, I've come to the conclusion that I will use this here trailer. Really, when you consider the economics of it, there's nothing cheaper than something we already have to start with. This will give me a chance to build this here trailer up, and once this here trailer is built, then we can rebuild that one, and then we'll have 2 trailers virtually same. Now of course, first thing that comes to mind when you want to tear something apart is to grab a hold of the old knife, start hacking and cutting. However, of course, I do have a third trailer, like I mentioned, that is the same as this one, that the child harness has been cut out of it. So I was considering unbolting and undoing the child harness of this here trailer and trying to undo as much of the fabric as possible from this here trailer, just in case in the future I did find another one. Because really, if it goes the way that I'm thinking it's gonna go, the only parts I'm really going to need in the end is really just going to be the trailer frame, the wheels, and of course the hitch. So basically, guys, we'll start by folding her down flat, turning her upside down, popping the hitch and of course the 2 wheels off of it. Then we'll find out what size here these bolts are, and what size or what screws or whatever's holding the child safety harness thing in place, and start undoing things systematically, get that all undone, and we'll see what we end up with at the other end. Okay guys, so once she's folded on down, she's laying basically upside down and semi-flat on the work surface. We have ourselves a screw here, screw there, 1, 2 screws there. Looks like there's a bolt here that the child harness goes into, and of course you know, screw and bolt there. And at the back there is 2, 3 screws at the back, and then of course a reflector mount that we'll have to remove as well. Now of course, to remove these tires, because well, they're meant to fold down to put in the back of an SUV or car, pretty much you just pull out on this here tab and then pull out with the wheel, and the axle pops right out of that holder. Pretty much, as you can see, there's a little groove milled into the axle, or whatever you want to call that there, that little lever holds and grabs onto. So pretty much once the wheels are removed, we can start removing the fabric. Now it depends on your riding style. You may want to put this back on to the finished product at the other end, or you may want to just leave it off. Now of course, it is a little bit of a shame, if you want to say, to do it with such a okay, you know, usable, semi-usable trailer, but at the same time the trend seems to be going away from these type of trailers, and they're going for more of the jogger style, which this one didn't have the conversion pieces anyway. And of course you can get a better look at the bottom side here. You know, if that's not wear from scraping, then maybe it's a mouse. Maybe a mouse got in their shed and that was why they threw it away. You know, some families, of course, they would have patched that and they would have been okay. They wouldn't have thrown this away. They would still be using it. Now I had thought originally, you know, firing up my welder and making my own frame. However, of course, the cost of the metal and the sheer fact that my welder is not set up to weld this thin of a gauge of material would have really proved troublesome. So pretty much guys, I'll get me a socket to throw on that one, we'll spin that off, and then well, flip her back upside right and get the covering off it. Okay, so once you got all the bottom side stuff done and the final strap there on the harness undone, it's time to of course undo the framework to get the fabric completely off of the frame. So of course, in all 4 corners we have these gold bolts there. They pretty much go through the frame, through the arch, and connect everything together. Now, unless you're working with a trailer that's really old, or maybe it's seen quite a bit of you know, outside moisture, these bolts shouldn't be rusty. Try to save them, because we will be reusing these on the build at the other end. Pretty much they're just a nice pan head type of bolt. You know, threads only the first ½ inch or so up, and then, you know, we're good to go. Okay, so now she's undone. Now comes the time we've been waiting for. Pretty much, you know, if everything's undone correctly, the frame should just lift right off this mess of fabric, and then you're good to go. Pretty much like that. So of course, don't discard this here pile of stuff yet, because well, there's some nice snaps here, some nice tubing you could straighten out for another project. There's some nice little connectors in here like buckles and such. You can strip that down even further if you want. But for us right now, all we're interested in is metal frame, so we'll get this out of the way, put the frame back in place, and we'll see what we're working with. Okay guys, so there we go. Pretty much got her set back in place here. Wheels back under. Like I said, that's the basic framework of this here unit. We're going to come off of this inside corner, pretty much right there. You see that bolt hole? pretty much on all 4 corners we have corresponding bolt holes, and that's what we're going to build, you know, off of. Now, of course, you could use square tubing, you know, an old store display. You could cut it down to throw on in there. You could use broomsticks. You could use plastic PVC type of conduit type of deal. But for the purpose of this build here, we're going to use copper pipe. I know you guys are probably saying, well, copper's expensive, right? Well, it is in a way. But at the same time, it's very easy to work with. You can solder together all your joints or connections. If it ever gets broke, you can unsolder a piece and, well, take it from there. I've used store display fixtures. I've used other materials, and the copper pipe seems to last the best, kind of the best bang for the buck, if you want to say. Now, the old trailer was about 20 inches high. That's basically measuring, of course, from this height of the frame to the top of the arch. Now, of course, it wasn't 3, you know, by 20 by 24 inch wide, like squared per se. It did have that taper to it. So, of course, the cubic measurement will be different by far than the one that I'm building. But at the same time, it should hold a heck of a pile more, be lighter, and better for what I am doing with it. So pretty much, guys, I'll get my tubing cutter here. I'll cut some lengths of copper to the length that I want them. We'll clamp them in place here, and we'll try to drill through, catching that hole, and then we're good to go. Okay, guys, so here we go. A little bit of a check-in. Now, of course, apologize for not showing step by step, but at the same time, you get in kind of a groove, and you forget to start filming. So pretty much what I did here is I drilled holes down through the plastic piece here, and of course captured the through and through right there. We're going to throw ourselves a bolt through and through that. And then, of course, you know, leveling or straightening the vertical of each chunk of copper here. Then we'll cut her again, probably somewhere in here. And then we'll do our long, you know, back to front pieces. And then, of course, we'll put an elbow up here. And then, of course, our top, you know, rails or pieces as well. Well, it's coming along fairly well, of course. I forget the measurements of the old one that I built. This one here is probably going to be about 3 or 4 inches taller than the old one that I built years ago. But at the same time, I guess it's increased capacity, so you know, it should be all good, all okay. The only thing is because I took the easy way out and put the copper pipes on the inside of the tubing, these bolts that I saved from the hoops are not going to work. So I got to go down and pick me up 4 bolts to stick on in there, of course, you know, an inch shorter. But I guess that's to, well, be expected. Maybe while I'm down there, I'll look at some kind of fine wire as well. The wire that I have is like mechanics wire or hay wire, and it's a little bit thicker or coarser. The external covering that I'm going to use is, you know, this little stuff right here. It's pretty thin, but it should work for what I want to do. What I'll probably do is lay a covering or a dish down in the bottom here, maybe double or triple that one up. And then, of course, once the outer framework is built, then that's where I'll probably put, you know, 1 or 2 wraps of that stuff on there. Then I'll give that the strength as well. Of course, that's after everything's all soldered and good to go. So pretty much, guys, I will grab those bolts, get back at her, and away we go. Okay, guys, so here we go. Pretty much got back with the bolts that I need. Pretty much laid a double layer of mesh or wire in the bottom of there. Of course, it has, you know, fairly decent sized holes in it. I did double her up, so it should help resist anything going on through there. The other one I built did have stucco wire, which had holes about that size in there, and I didn't really have a problem with that, so we should be okay with this one. Pretty much I got the, of course, bolts in there, got the copper bolted on down. Of course, now I just have to measure up and cut where I want the T's to go in, to go across. And then of course, once all that's squared up and good to go, then of course we can solder. Pretty much once of course everything is squared up, I can bend this top layer of wire up, effectively creating like a basket, if you want to say. So we're good on that side. Have to run the snips along this front edge, basically cutting that short, and then we can move on from that one. To see how much this wire stretches, it might stretch out a bit. If it starts to drag or get close to dragging on the ground, then what I'm probably going to end up having to do is put some, what I'm going to call as belly straps under it, just to keep the belly from dragging. Normally I would try to keep it around the level of that bar, but in order to keep that, the mesh above that bar, you're going to have something in there, like a spine, to keep it from drooping, which will add extra weight. Unless I can come up with something light between now and then, those belly straps will have to do when and if the time comes. So pretty much, guys, going to give that a trim, and then of course start squaring up this copper, start running our other pieces. Well guys, here we go. Of course, got the two hoops, if you want to say mocked up. They're not soldered together, they're just sitting on there to give a bit of an eyeball idea of what's going to happen. Of course, pretty much this front edge has got to lean in this way. After these are all soldered, I'm going to go back through with the pipe cutter, measure down whatever, an inch or something, and cut all four of the posts, if you want to say an inch shorter. Then I'm going to put a T in each one, and then run the horizontal long pieces all the way across, give them a solder, and then it's good to go. We'll have to see the integrity of it. If it's too shaky, I might cut it and put a piece right in the middle, but the other trailer didn't need it, and I'm guessing this one here should be close to being about the same. The other trailer, although was a little better secure bolted down there, where this one's not fully secure bolted down there, but it's not going to fall out, nor is it going to go anywhere, especially once it is wire wrapped anyways. So pretty much, guys, I'm going to get these joints all cleaned up and throw some flux at them. Then of course we'll get soldering and see what happens. Well guys, here we are. Of course, I got all the soldering done. The framework is completely done, of course. Currently just wrapping her with the first layer of wire. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do a second layer of wire, or just do this first layer and then later on go over it again with a layer of semi-smaller mesh type wire. This thing here, you can fit about 3 fingers in, so there might be some issues with the bottles and that, especially the long neck ones, poking them out. So I may have to rewrap this trailer later on, but for right now we'll get her going, get her rolling with this wire here, get this basic design going, and if I have to, I can rewrap it with a smaller type of mesh wire. One of the good things I will say is at least I didn't buy a very, very large roll where I had, a couple 100 feet left over. So of course, pretty much went on down to the frame with, the mesh wire. Then I'm going to come up with the stuff that we wrapped, first in there, tie it all together in one. Right now I'm just using zip ties. They'll work okay. I might go and put a couple loops of wire in here and there, or see how it goes from there. We'll see how this lines up with this bottom lip. We might end up giving that a trim so it's not quite so large there. And it is kind of looking that this bottom might sag down quite a bit when there's weight in there, so I'll probably end up having to strap it. I have been thinking about using ratchet straps. However, of course, currently I don't have any old used ones that I know of yet. I'll have to go dig around in my hoard, see if I can find some that are frayed or broke, rusty, that I want to get rid of. And if we do, we're good. If we don't, then we'll have to hold off till we find some. So pretty much, guys, going to get zip tying, wrapping, and stretching, and well, away we go. Okay, guys, so here we go. Pretty much got the wire all good and wrapped on her. I did leave it a tad on the loose side, pretty much, so it will fill out. It's a little more loose on the back side, again, so it'll like pooch out when it's full. Kind of gives you extra capacity. I did tighten up the bottom side a bit here. Pretty much, if you could tell, of course, it is still doubled in the bottom, but again, with it tight, it shouldn't drop down too low and touch the ground. Of course, I did go around and zip tie a few areas just to give a little more tension. Of course, the front here should be okay. There is room, of course, between it and the bicycle tire, so there is room for expansion there as well. Pretty much, you know, would just throw the tires on, fold the hitch back up under it, and then it should be good, you know, from there. I'll keep a watch, like I said, on you know, the bottom side of the trailer, and if I do notice it sagging, then of course we will have to strap the bottom like belly straps to give it a little extra support. But pretty much, guys, going to trim these little zip ties that I got going here shorter, and then put some wheels under it, and then give it another once over to make sure there's no holes in her, and then take it from there. There we go. Pretty much got the trailer all put back together and hooked up behind the bike here. Pretty much I'll give you the idea of what the coupler looks like. Pretty much that black piece there with a little indent that this slides into, pin drops in. If a guy was set up with a proper welder, he could make that. You know, of course it'd be thicker, heavier, and stronger, but it'd still be cheaper than buying it. Of course, there's no interference between the tire and, of course, the basket. And, you know, it doesn't drag on the ground empty, so it should be, you know, reasonably okay. Right now I got a zip tie for the reacher, just to keep it in, you know, in reach, right? I'm thinking about getting a piece of black sewer pipe and zip tying it to the frame, kind of like that, and then the reacher will slide inside of it like a holder. But pretty much, guys, we'll wait till tonight. We'll take her out for the maiden voyage, and well, see what happens. Well, guys, there we go. Of course, went out and did a round of cans. As you see there, we have a fairly good amount in the trailer. Of course, it doesn't look like a lot because of the size of the trailer itself. However, there is probably as much in there as what there would be in a full trailer of, you know, the yellow smaller one there. But at the same time, of course, you know, again, being the size of the trailer, it doesn't look like a lot. The belly of the trailer doesn't hang down a whole lot. You know, the wire is stretched more now, of course, because of the weight of the plastic and the aluminum. I imagine if there was more glass in there, it might have stretched a little more. I might still end up putting belly bands under it just to give it some extra strength. I just have to find the right material to use. Ideally, I'd like to use ratchet strap material. However, all my straps are still in good usable condition, and I don't have any of that banding material like you'd find from like lumber yards or so on hand yet, so I'll have to watch for that. But pretty much, guys, this has been the rebuild of the can trailer into more of a usable item, something that'll work a little better for me, hold more product, allow me to be out for longer periods of time than just you know, half hour, 45 minutes. And of course the test run, and really it performed very, very well. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.